Hey guys, Ranger, welcome back to another reaction and commentary video, and this is to the 20th episode of MLP. Sorry, the 21st episode. Yeah, this is to the 21st episode of MLP. Thankfully, I am catching up, and this is Every Little Thing She Does. Now, I know that this is a Starlight Glimmer episode, and I'm actually very excited for that. See what progresses in this episode, so after double checking to make sure everything's running properly, let's go ahead and start the episode because I'm really excited. I really don't know what goes on in this episode, so without further ado, let's start. Yeah, step off. Okay, here we go. Starting the video in 3. Wait. Okay, starting the video in 3, 2, 1, click. Ooh, nice. Pardon me. Nice sun. Ooh, look at that lighting. That's beautiful. Pardon me.
I prepared a full day of spells. You've been
Oh, it's morning.
but now it's
I thought that was.
for a real
I thought it was dusk.
Oh, it is on. Where do we begin? Teleportation, multiple locations. Try to keep up.
Okay, I like this. I like this. What the? Okay, I love this. This is cute. That's cute.
Transfiguration.
Oh, I can only imagine how that's going to be. Whoa. So, those can overheat? Why did I think of Captain America? Whoa. Whoa! That was like a mega spell.
I am on fire. What's next? Maybe there is such a thing as too much studying.
What's it? It's cute. Okay, I think it's really cool. An episode where we actually getting to see to. Sorry, I got something on my screen. I think it's cool to be able to see an episode where we are actually. I will get to talk here at some point. Where we are actually seeing the progression with Twilight and Starlight Glimmer. I love that aspect for them. It's a really cool dynamic, and I think it's cool to be able to see them. To be able to see Twilight sort of in the teacher stage here, and Starlight as the pupil, but also kind of acting, but also being friends. I love that here.
As you know, speed spells like Accelero are not easy. But if done correctly, they can allow you to be much more efficient with your day.
Whoa! Dang!
Way to go, Starlight! Oh, I'm not finished. I've discovered a very old spell, Similo-Duplexis. When combined with Accelero in just the right way,
Whoa!
can literally be in two places at once.
Duplication?
Now, I'm finished. I have to admit, your skills with magic really are nothing short of amazing. I'm very impressed. I've always been something of a natural. However, it doesn't look like you've tackled any friendship lessons since you met Trixie. Are you sure? I could have sworn there were a couple in there somewhere. I'm sure.
Something on my screen again.
I see. Well, I'm really quite busy this week. So many commitments. I'll try and find some time in my... No time like the present. Spike and I are headed to Canterlot. Princess Celestia wanted me to give her students a quick overview on the history of enchanted objects in Equestria. We'll be back after the presentation, which should be...
20 moons from now?
Tonight. It's a quick presentation.
Sure. Keep telling yourself that.
You can tackle a friendship lesson today, and we can review your progress when I get back later this evening. Of course. No problem. Friendship lesson. On it. Great! Can't wait. Now, Spike, help me color code these cards according to time, place, and object.
Aww.
Oh, yeah.
Is that picture Trixie?
Twilight and I are about to head to Canterlot.
That's
Just
cute.
checking to see if you
That's
need
Trixie.
anything before we left.
Nope.
Ah, I just noticed the
I'm good
reference.
here. Oh,
No
good.
equals.
Great. Not a
Okay.
problem in the world.
Cute.
Uh-huh. So, what are you doing exactly?
I was just trying to decide which friendship lesson I was going to tackle while you two were in Canterlot. But, oh, yep, right here, where I just left them a second ago.
Bake a cake with Pinkie Pie, scrapbook with Applejack, sew with Rarity, help an animal with Fluttershy, chillax with Rainbow Dash? What is chillaxing?
No idea.
You know, if you're nervous about your friendship lessons, it's totally okay to say so.
Nervous? Me? Oh, Spike, you really are hilarious. You think I'm nervous that I'm gonna fail something as simple as baking a cake?
Well, if you were, it'd be...
Silly! Twilight just said how impressed she was that I combined a speed
still have
spell
something on
and a
my screen.
duplication spell. That was a challenge. These? Ha! I can combine all 5 of these at the same time without breaking a sweat.
I think maybe you're missing...
An opportunity to really impress Twilight? Great idea, Spike! I'm gonna get right on that. Good talk.
Uh-oh.
And I thought Twilight was the master of the freak-out.
So, with your help, I figure these should be done in no time.
Are you sure this is what Twilight would want? Seems like you might want to take your time with each of these.
But by working as a team, we can get them done faster. And isn't teamwork a key factor in friendship?
I guess.
Super! Pinkie Pie! Since we're baking, you will be in the kitchen. Rarity, Applejack, you two can set up in the library.
Oh, I don't know that the dusty old library has the proper lighting. Perhaps we can stay out here in the foyer.
I thought that Fluttershy and I could
Huh,
work with the
interesting.
animals right here in the foyer.
Oh, whatever
Okay,
you
I think it's
is
really
best.
interesting to be able to hear
Great! Now,
that
Rainbow
pronounced
Dash,
in both
You
in
might
both
depend on the
variations.
animal.
The
For
foyer,
instance,
the
this
foyer.
poor little
I like that.
eagle with a sprained wing might be better off up in one of the towers.
Yeah, sure.
And these adorable chipmunks might prefer a nook
Well-
somewhere. Maybe if you spend some time getting to know...
In a minute, Fluttershy.
Ooh. Cute.
I don't know if we can chillax properly in the castle. We need very specific conditions for optimal chillaxing.
Oh, I just assumed chillaxing could happen anywhere.
Shows what you know about chillaxing.
Yeah, I
Let me do
can
some location
understand
scouting.
Rainbow's perspective here.
Okay. It seemed more efficient to start with the scrapbooking, so we could just get it out of the...
Can we start with me? We're gonna need time for the cake to bake. After all, it's a piece of cake to bake a pretty cake.
We're on a schedule. No time for a song. We can start with baking, then...
But we can't design dresses after you've been baking with Pinkie. She can be a bit messy.
Fine.
Oh, I'm
We can
gonna.
start with the dresses.
That's gonna be interesting to
and
see that
then-
edited on
Figure
Broken
that
Brew.
out. I'm gonna start laying out the pictures for scrapbooking. We got a whole lot of time to cover.
How much is a whole lot?
Oh no.
We've got at least 80 moons worth of memories to go through.
80 moons?
She'll
There
duplicate
is
herself.
nowhere to chillax in this castle. We're gonna have to set up somewhere else.
She'll duplicate herself. And I have it.
Excuse me for 1 second.
She'll duplicate herself.
Wow, that pony really needs to chillax.
I have a bad feeling about this.
Okay, Starlight, you've got this. A handful of friendship lessons is nothing compared to the spells you've mastered. Maybe if I cast a little spell to help things along? Something simple and safe. Fiducia Compellus? That's not bad. They would barely notice it, but is it enough?
What?
Oh, maybe Cogeria, so they're more open to suggestion. Or maybe Cogeria combined with Fiducia Compellus.
What?
Yes, that could work nicely. With a hint of Persuadere to be sure it sticks.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh crap. This is bad. This is bad.
Every pony will probably thank me for getting it all done so quickly. Twilight will be thrilled I've completed so many lessons. Every pony wins! Congratulations, Starlight. You're a genius.
Or you just evaporated everybody into dust.
Maybe the congratulations were a little premature.
Okay, Starlight is adorable here. Oh, great.
Progeria, Persuadere, Fiducia. Oh, of course. Fiducia Compellus needs a trigger.
Pony, hear my voice and listen.
Pinky, kitchen. Rarity, Applejack, library. Fluttershy, stay here. Rainbow Dash, find somewhere inside the castle and set up a place where we can chillax. Let's get to work, Pinky.
Okie dokie. What would you like to do first?
What are we supposed to do first?
Whatever you want to do first, Starlight Glimmer.
In a medium-sized mixing bowl, beat together eggs, sugar, and 2 teaspoons of vanilla.
I'm having
Mix in
flashbacks
flour.
to
Add baking soda,
Bugs
salt, and
Bunny and the Invasion of the Bunny Snatchers.
I think you can take it from here.
Take what from where?
The baking. Just keep following the instructions in the book until I get back.
Absolutely.
Oh, no.
Instruction following starting now.
Baking a cake? Check. Now on to sewing.
She'll bake everything in that book, won't she?
What did you have in mind, Rarity?
Whatever you want me to have in my mind, Starlight Glimmer.
Oh boy.
Can you make a dress exactly like that one?
Just like this one?
Just like it.
Absolutely. It will look perfectly divine.
That's a whole lot of photos. How do you usually organize them?
However you want me to organize them, Starlight.
Okay, tell me about
That
this
was
one.
so creepy.
Sweet Apple Acres, 20 moons ago. Granny Smith was looking for her favorite pie tin. She looked in the kitchen, but it wasn't there. She looked in the barn, but it wasn't there.
I don't need every little detail. Just sum up the story in one sentence.
Huh. Well, turns out Granny Smith didn't know how to make a pig do the backstroke.
Uh-huh. Why don't you keep putting these photos in chronological order, and when I come back, you can give me more highlights.
Sure thing, Starlight Glimmer.
Fluttershy, where are all the animals?
I have a
They
very...
ran away
And why didn't you stop them?
because you didn't ask me to.
Obviously, I
Oh
wanted you
no.
to... Never mind.
Let me guess.
Can you please round up all the animals in the castle and bring them back here to the foyer?
All the animals. Got it.
Oh no.
Did you find a place
That was a
to
bad
park,
idea.
Rainbow Dash?
Sure thing, Starlight Glimmer.
Great. Let me know when it's ready.
Her eyes look a different
Yes,
color
Starlight
than normal.
Glimmer.
Eyes could look more purple. That's cute. So that's where that
Granny
face
Smith knew
came
she
from.
was gonna need a bigger boat. So Goldie Delicious says, if you can't say anything nice about any pony, come sit by me. Big Mac knew if he just covered himself in mud, the creature wouldn't be able to see him.
Starlight Glimmer. I have finished the dress. Isn't it gorgeous?
What is that?
You wanted me to make a dress exactly like the one in the book.
Go make a real dress out of fabric, exactly like the one in the book.
Huh, I see. Yes, of course, Starlight Glimmer.
Rarity, make it bigger than the one in the book.
Of course, darling. Bigger it is.
She was just a pony standing in front of another pony, asking him to love her.
Hey. Oh, the detailing.
Pinky, what are you doing?
She made everything in the book.
Following all of the instructions in the cookbook in order, Starlight Glimmer.
I meant just the one cake. I was only gone a few minutes. How in Equestria did you get all of this done so fast?
First, I combine 3 eggs. Then I...
Think the baking lesson is done. Oh, what now?
Oh no! Oh crap!
They can take our
Oh crap!
but they can't take our freedom.
What's going on?
I've gathered all of the animals you asked, Starlight Glimmer.
Oh, yes. This will do nicely. A much bigger dress.
Okay, I thought she was...
The best of apples, it was the worst of apples.
I can handle this. It's just magic. And
you might want to call the fire department! Call fire department!
What did you say?
The cakes are burning. You left the ovens on. We need water. Yes, Starlight Glimmer.
Oh no!
Storm clouds?
That's a bad. Oh crap. It's like Fantasia. Oh shoot. Of course Pinky floats. Oh my gosh, the water damage.
Big Mac told me with a whole lot of power comes a heck of a lot of responsibility.
Oh, this can't get any worse.
You just jinxed it. You never say
What is going on?
that. It just got worse. Ah, spider.
I had no idea we had spiders in the castle.
You
I'm
did-
never sleeping again.
Maybe if I had reversed the Fiducia Compellus and Cogeria. Or maybe I added too much Persuadere. What?
You're really missing the point here.
I finally untangled that mess of a spell and got every pony home. It was really powerful stuff. They're gonna feel that in the morning.
Ouch.
Now please
Oh, the
try to
headaches.
explain to me how in the name of Celestia things got this out of control.
Well, it was the first time I cast that particular spell, and I didn't fully think it through. I bet if I had reversed...
I think you might be missing the point here.
Told ya.
What made you think that casting a spell on your friends to do your bidding was even remotely a good idea?
Well, when you put it that way, it sounds really bad.
Because it is really bad! Starlight, I'm not mad at you, but I am disappointed. You've been doing so well. I just don't understand how a friendship lesson turned into all of this.
Ugh, fine! I've been avoiding the friendship lessons on purpose.
Why?
I can cast complex spells, but baking a cake with Pinkie Pie freaks me out. And yes, I know how ridiculous that sounds. That's why I didn't say anything. I thought if I just kept wowing you with my magical abilities, you might just not notice?
Baking a cake freaks you out?
Yes, baking a cake, sewing, all of it. What if I was bad at it? I didn't want to be a disappointment to any pony, and I ended up being a
Right.
disappointment to every pony.
Starlight, do you think any pony cares if you can bake a cake?
But the lesson...
Was to get to know Pinkie Pie better by doing something she loves. It was a friendship lesson, not a baking lesson.
Oh. You know, I think I might have missed the point here.
Told ya.
So now what?
Now it's time for a pretty advanced friendship lesson. It's called apologizing.
Oh gosh.
I don't know what kind of whammy Starlight put on us, but I feel like I got shoved through the super speedy cider squeezy 6000.
The callback.
Tell me about it.
If every pony could speak in a whisper for the next few days, that would be delightful. My head is thumping. I was up all night calming the animals down. Fluttershy, please. Not so loud. Starlight spell made me burn
Oh,
a
God.
really good cake. I never burn cake.
Yeah, about that. Things got a little out of hand last night.
Well, ain't that the understatement of the day?
Tell it to the cake, sister. Tell me all, please. Argue at a lower volume.
Oh gosh.
Really messed up. I cast the spell because I was nervous about working with you on the friendship lessons.
Well, here's a friendship lesson for ya. Don't cast spells on your friends!
Believe me, I know. What I did was wrong, and I can't take it back. You're right to be upset, and I hope one day I can make it up to you. But all I can say is, I'm sorry. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got to go clean a castle covered in wet cake batter and spiders.
That was a pretty good apology.
Seems like she feels really bad.
Hey, Starlight! Most of the Apple family photos are still laying around in the wreckage. I think I'll come along and hunt them down.
Oh, and I feel awful for disturbing all of those cute little spiders and bats. I should check on them. Ah, yes. And I left some lovely fabric out.
She looks cute with her hair fluffed up like that.
Library.
I'll come and get those storm clouds out of the bathroom.
Bathroom.
Some pony has to bake a cake to honor all the poor cakes that sacrificed their batter in last night's tragedy.
love this episode. Wow, I didn't know you had a basement corridor like that.
It seems your apology went well.
I'm just lucky to have such understanding friends. But it's probably gonna be a while before I try to tackle those friendship lessons again.
What do you mean? You've been doing them all day.
What are you talking about? I've been cleaning up the mess I made by totally failing at friendship.
Really? But didn't I see you sewing with Rarity?
Yes, but
And you and Applejack did a great job collecting those photos and putting them in the book. Helping animals with Fluttershy, baking with Pinkie Pie. Those sound like your assignments to me. In fact, I think there's just one that you're missing.
sun, check. Chairs, check. And thanks to
Oh,
a
we have to
simple
be-
Catadupa Levitata spell, we've got water. Is that everything we need to chillax?
Nope.
No. What did I miss?
Wow.
Quiet. Oh, right. Great job, Starlight. Looks like you've completed another friendship lesson. Hey! She completes the lesson when I say she completes it. So less learning and more chillaxing.
So, how long do we sit quietly?
Okay. I really did enjoy this episode. I really did. This was a really good episode. This was, in fact, a really good episode. I really, really loved it. And it was really cool. This was definitely one of those more realistic, slower paced episodes in terms of the story. It was interesting that, pardon me, it was interesting to be able, I'm really happy to see another Starlight Glimmer episode, and to be able to see, and to be able to see them further developing her character. And it was interesting that, again, we got to see more depth with her character. We got to see more revealed that she is, I mean, she's really capable of doing really advanced spells. She's really capable of that. But whenever it comes to friendship, she's uneasy. It's not that she doesn't want friends, it's just she's uneasy with, it scares her. And she was afraid of disappointing other ponies. She was afraid of disappointing others. And it was really interesting, and honestly, it's really, really relatable. It's really relatable from her perspective. And I love the depth and the tone and the way that they did this episode. It really flowed. The flow was great, and it was really interesting for that. And it was interesting to see her. Starlight wanted, she first, instead of trying to relax and do things normally, she put the concept of hanging out with the other ponies as a sort of task. Instead of actually relaxing and having fun, it seemed more like a mundane task. And something that she wanted to try to accomplish, thinking that it would actually get her a pass. And in her concept of doing that, she ended up trying a spell, which didn't luckily have any negative repercussions, but it was really interesting. I mean, she tried to do multiple things at once. And in all honesty, what I thought was going to happen, I thought she was going to use a duplication spell and duplicate herself. That's what I actually thought was going to happen. But that isn't actually what happened. And it was interesting how whenever she used the spell, every pony seemed, whenever she gave them instructions, they took it literal. They took it literally. She had to be very specific with the details that she gave them in order, or with the instructions. And it was really interesting for that. But it was also interesting that some of the different aspects that happened. And finally, she realized, of course, that she had got had got what Twilight had tasked her wrong, and we got to see, like I said, more of her character. That she was afraid and of disappointing everybody else, and it was really cool. And again, it was interesting to be able to see that dynamic, to be able to see that, and she was afraid of letting other ponies down. She was afraid of disappointing them, and it was interesting that that while Starlight was afraid of disappointing other ponies, fearing that she might not be good at something, Twilight explained that. I mean, and Starlight was able to see that whether you're good at something or not, it doesn't matter. If you're good at it, you're good at it. But even if you're not, the important thing is having fun with your friend. The important thing is just having fun. Still a learning experience, and you won't really know if you can do something unless you actually try. And even if you don't have an interest in it or you can't do it, the important thing is still being able to have fun. It's just being able to let loose and just enjoy that moment. It's not about being the best, it's about just having fun and hanging out. And Starlight was able to see that. She was able to really see that. And whenever she went to apologize to every pony, and she apologized, and her apology, whenever she explained what she had done and her reason why, and then Rainbow bellowed out. It was really hilarious whenever Rainbow exploded and basically said that, and said, "Don't cast spells on your friends." And yeah, and again, the apology that Starlight said, it was genuine. It was real. It wasn't just what you might see in some other media, where somebody just says, "I'm sorry," and then they're forgiven. No, it was relatable, the way that she apologized. She said she messed up and she can't take it back. And that's something that is relatable. There has been times whenever all of us, myself included, I know I have made mistakes, and we can't go back in time. We can't take those mistakes back. But what we're supposed to do is learn from those mistakes and learn not to do them again. Not repeat the same mistakes again. That's why that we're supposed to learn from them. And she told them that they have every right to be upset with her, and she hopes that someday she can make it up to them. She wasn't asking them to forgive her. She didn't tell them that she wanted them to forgive her. She didn't say that she hoped that they could forgive her. She said that she wanted to make it up to them. She felt that she didn't deserve that forgiveness, and she really doubted that they would even ever forgive her. But she wanted to try to make it up to them, and she vowed pretty much here that she wanted to make it up to them. This is something really genuine and incredibly well done, and I really credit the writers. I really credit them for writing Starlight's character and the dialogue this way. It really felt impactful and genuine. And there's a lot of relatability in this moment as well. And she said, after saying that she wants to make it up to them, she said all she can say is, "I'm sorry." And again, it's something where that's the only thing that she can say. And she had accepted. She had accepted, even if she didn't like the idea, she had accepted the mistake that she had made. And she still felt bad over it. And and they did forgive her. And I'm really happy that they did. I'm really happy that they did. I'm really happy that they didn't go the route and have them say, "Well, we'll think about it. We'll just have to wait and see. We'll just have to wait and see what she does." And that's something that is a bit more personal, I think, here. It's because I've seen moments with that. I've seen a couple of moments within the fandom And I'm not just saying this about the fandom. There's been other moments I've seen this as well, but I'm just using the fandom as a reference. A moment where somebody makes a mistake within the fandom, and some people immediately are, instead of saying, "Well, your apology sounds genuine," some people automatically accuse this person of doing damage control, and they automatically accuse them of damage control. And I've seen comments before of, "We'll just have to wait and see." And Starlight, she had made a mistake. She admitted that she made a mistake, and that's something else. Is I've seen, like I said, with just using the fandom as an example, somebody made a mistake. They acknowledged that they made a mistake and that they wanted to make things right, that they wanted to make amends for it. They didn't ask for forgiveness. They didn't ask for people to someday forgive them. They knew that they had made a mistake and they apologized. And that's the only thing that they can do. That's the only thing that any one of us can do. And I'm really happy that the gang forgave her here, that they warmed up to her, and that they really believed that she felt bad for what she done. And I've seen it with the fandom. There are some people that are too harsh to judge. They don't want to give forgiveness, even if somebody makes a mistake. In their mind, it's like this person should be completely perfect. It's like they have that mentality. This person should be perfect. They shouldn't make any mistakes at all. And so whenever they do make a mistake, it's like their whole world comes crashing. It's like, to this person, it's whenever, like, person B, like person A is supposed to be perfect. If person B sees that person A done something wrong or made a mistake, it's like, for person B, they can't forgive them. They don't believe anything they say anymore, even if person A is truly honest about it. And like I said, the first Starlight didn't try to hide that she made a mistake. She felt genuinely bad about it, and she was really suffering mentally and emotionally for it. She knew that she made a mistake, and she was suffering for it, and she wanted to try to make amends. And the first step was knowing that she made a mistake, and she acknowledged that. She admitted she had made a mistake. Pardon me. And she didn't ask for forgiveness. She wanted to make amends. And it was, pardon me, for me, this scene was really genuine. It was really real. And I love that aspect. Again, I love how much more mature that the show seems with its stories, how much more mature that the character seems. And the developmental paths in which the writing, not just for the story but for the characters, are taking. It's adding more depth and naturality to it, and it's adding more realism and more depth, and making it seem a lot more real, a lot more believable. And it allows people to really get more in depth and really relate and identify with the characters. Even if there's multiple characters, you can, from a good perspective, understand how every single character is thinking, what every single character is feeling. And whenever you can really identify with that, that's whenever the writing is at its best, and that's whenever the character development is at its best. And again, this moment here really felt genuine. It felt real. It felt believable. It felt natural. It felt true. Not just in the show, but I mean, it felt really real and true for real life. And like I said, I think it was really cool that in the end they all warmed up to her, and they were able to have fun. Starlight was able to have fun with them, and she was genuine. She was genuinely having a good time with them, and she thought that she wasn't really doing anything. And I think it's cool how Pinky at first wasn't exactly warming up to her, but then she sees Starlight actually suffering. She sees her actually trying, and she sees her being genuine. She sees her actually trying, and it put a smile on Piggy's face. Not that she was suffering, but because she saw that she was actually trying, and that she was really being genuine. And it was that realism, it was that real person that Pinky really appreciated. And that works for reality as well. Because whenever you see a person's whenever you see the real person. And it was really cool. And again, they were able to have fun. They were just having fun. And even if Starlight wasn't really good at some of those other things, she still had fun, and she was able to just be herself, and she was able to just have fun. And they forgave her. They didn't outright say that they forgave her, but sometimes, I mean, but they basically did, because they warmed up to her and they were willing. She was still their friend. It was a lesson that Starlight learned, and it was a hard lesson. But it's not one, and that's also something that I really, really appreciate here, is it's not something that the rest of the gang are going to hold over her. It's not something that they're going to constantly remind her about. It's something that they know that she learned her lesson about, and they're confident she won't ever do it again. She also knows that she won't ever do it again. And again, I've seen that before, that whenever somebody makes a mistake, sometimes a person might forgive, but they'll constantly rub it in your face. And it's like pointing out that it's like letting you openly know that you're flawed and that you made a mistake, and they're not going to let you forget it. They're not going to let you forget it. And nobody really likes it nobody likes it whenever that happens. I mean, every single one of us makes a mistake. It's hard enough to deal with mentally, and it's hard enough to deal with mentally and emotionally. It's worse whenever you have somebody constantly reminding you every little bit that you made that mistake. It's not fun, and it is hurtful. And then, so again, I'm really glad that they did this episode this way. There was a lot of naturality and realism to it, and I really adored this episode because of it. There was a lot of adorableness as well, a lot of fun to it, and it was really cute. And it was great to be able to see another Starlight Glimmer episode. It was really great to be able to see that. And there was some cuteness, there was some really fun things going on here. And I loved it. And one could say the episode had a bit of a slower paced tone to it, because, there wasn't anything big going on. But again, I loved the natural feel to it. It was more slower paced, but I loved it because of that natural feel that it had to it. Both with the story and with the characters. And again, we got to see that naturalness again with Starlight and with the other characters. And I love that. And I love how that they did that. And again, I think my favorite part of this episode is whenever Starlight is apologizing. She knows she made a mistake, and she apologized. And she felt genuinely bad about it. And she didn't ask others to forgive her. She didn't ask them to forgive her. She hoped that maybe someday that she could make amends for it. But she knew she didn't deserve that forgiveness. And it would have been too simple for her to just say, "I'm sorry, hope you can forgive me," and then them say, "I do forgive you." They added more depth to it and naturality to it, with her not saying that she wanted that forgiveness. I mean, she knew she didn't deserve it, and she said that she doesn't blame them for being upset. She made a mistake. She screwed up, and that she hoped she could make amends for it someday. And that was so real. It was so believable. It was so natural. And I loved the depth that they went with that. And again, I love the development that they're showing with Starlight's character. I love the development that they're giving with her character. And it's really cool to be able to see Starlight and Twilight bond, not just like teacher and student, but also as friends, and heck, one could probably even say like sisters. And again, it was really cool to be able to, and it was really cool to be able to see that. And I adore this episode. There's a lot of realism and naturality to it, and tone and depth, and I love that. I really love this episode. I really, really do. It's definitely one of my favorite episodes of this season. And there was a lot of other things going on as well. We got to see some really cute character facial expressions here. We got to see some really cute things going on, and with all of the characters. And again, there's so many little details and everything going on in the background, and with the characters' facial expressions and everything. It was just really, really fun and really cute and extremely well done. And again, the moment whenever Pinky is just sitting there like stoic with a stoic expression. Again, I had flashbacks to Bugs Bunny and the invasion of the Bunny Snatchers. I don't know how many people remembers that short. It was really, really well done. But how Pinky is just moving her arms without even looking. And that's kind of almost like the stuff in Nightmares, like every single one of these characters, just kind of waiting for that moment where they're like, where they're acting like, almost like robots or something, like mind-controlled zombies or something. And it was really cool. And again, it's almost a bit horror. There's a bit of a horror element here. I know it's probably going to be more, probably going to be some really good fan art and fan fiction that's going to show more of that. Just waiting for that moment whenever that happens. And so, really waiting for that whenever there's that going on. And we got to see some really adorable faces. We got to see some great development. We got to see some great development with Starlight's character. We got to see some more in-depth perception into her character, into her emotions, into her concerns, fears, and feelings. And it's always great whenever we can get more in-depth with a character. And again, it's also really great to be able to see that moment whenever the characters acknowledge those flaws that they have. Whenever the character and the other characters are aware of each of the characters' flaws. And it's interesting whenever a character has to face that flaw, face that challenge head on. And yeah, it is definitely a concern, and I think it was handled incredibly well here. It was handled incredibly realistic, and I love that. And I'm going to say, there was a bit of a creepy moment here that kind of freaked me out whenever Fluttershy suddenly appears, and she's got spiders and the like centipedes. Okay, you know what? I can, and the snakes. Okay, I can honestly say, the snakes I could have handled a little bit better, but the centipedes and the spiders, yeah, that's really that's a little bit of a gross out factor for me. I have a very serious arachnophobia, and so yeah. So this actually touched on. So they actually went with the concept here of touching upon a phobia, so it's very interesting that they went with that psychological aspect. And we got to see Twilight's angry face here. And it was really cool to be able to see Twilight be so understanding and everything. And again, we got to see this wonderful scene transition. Again, it's a subtle detail, but I loved it. The scene transition here, whenever the camera is focusing on Twilight. The scene is first transitioning on Twilight, with Twilight in the background. And it's a bit fuzzy, a bit blurred over top of Starlight. And then as it transitions, as the camera pans backward, it focuses on Starlight, and the camera, it turns blurry for Twilight. Again, it's a little subtle detail, but I love that transition. It adds a lot more depth to it, and it adds a lot more concept, like a realistic camera filter, or like a realistic camera angle. And I love how they did that. It was very subtle, but extremely realistic, and added a really nice touch to it. And again, I really love how they're doing this. And then we get to see the characters after the spell thing. And again, I figured they would have like major headaches, and every single one of the characters was suffering for it. And one could probably say that, okay, every single one of the characters are completely hungover. But again, I really love this episode. There was a lot going on in this episode. I mean, it was fun. It was simplistic. But I really love this episode. There was a lot of really great stuff in this episode. And we also got to see this moment. One little subtle thing I have to mention beforehand is this basement section with Starlight and Fluttershy in this basement-like section with cobwebs and everything. And, honestly, I really love the atmosphere for this. And I'm just wondering if maybe there's so many cobwebs. Obviously, this place hasn't been touched in a long time. It makes me kind of wonder, like, how many other areas are there in the castle that maybe Twilight doesn't dare to go? And, like, what sort of horror elements could be added for something like this? What could they do? Could there be, like, a secret doorway at the end of the hall that just suddenly appeared one night that Twilight never knew about? Maybe she hears, maybe like a fanfic where she hears something, and she hears it, or she feels a presence. She goes downstairs to investigate. She goes like into this corridor, and there's like a door there that she never saw before. Um, something, something like that. Again, there's a lot of really good concepts for that. And this little subtle moment whenever you see the water, like the water just rotating around, and you see that shine, you see that shimmer on that with the sun reflecting on that, you see that rainbow effect. Again, it's a very subtle detail, but I love it. How it was beautifully done, and it added a lot more depth. And it's tiny details like that that really show how far the animation has come for this. And I love that aspect. There was just a lot of realism and detail for it, and I love that. And so again, I really love this episode. There was a lot going on in this episode. It was a really fun episode, and there was a lot of relatability and understanding to it. And like I said, this is definitely one of my favorite episodes. And so I'm pretty sure that this episode is also highly favored amongst people. And it's really understandable why, because of the naturality, the tone, the feeling for this episode. And again, I'm really happy that we got to see more with Starlight Glimmer. We got to see more with the character development for her and everything. And again, I really enjoyed this episode. This was a really great episode. And so again, to everybody that did this episode, thank you so much to everybody that did this episode. Thank you so much for showing the development with the characters, for the writing, the character development, the dialogue and everything, the emotion, the tone, the details for the animation. Again, to everybody, thank you so much at Hasbro DHX. Thank you guys so much for this, for showing the development, for doing the development with the show that you have. And it's really fantastic, and I for one love it. And so thank you so much. And also thank you guys again so much for watching and for possibly listening to this point at my afterthoughts. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say as well. So anything that you want to say, please feel free to type it out in the comments below. And thank you guys again for joining me. And hopefully I will see you guys in the next video that I do. Take care.